and he's got a little round piece over there with a little bitty hammer, and he's pounding it out like so.
foolish game. Do you ever feel the same? Well, maybe we could change, turn the ship another way. Feel it in the darkness, we're sailing right into those jagged.
Good morning. Welcome back to the channel, Grand Colombia, and welcome to another Coffee Time Live here in Armenia, Colombia. Seems like it was forever since the last Coffee Time, probably because of all these little things I've had to do in between. But let's take a look outside. Maybe. Come on. I know you can do it. There we go. It's nice out. Had a little rain this morning. No surprise. It's about 74 degrees. Going to have a high of about 77, a low of about 61. Pretty much the same every day within a few degrees. Colombian peso, 41.18. Been bouncing around there for quite a while. Not unusual. Okay, let's see. Get back to the regular camera. I can remove the exchange. There we go. All right, so I got 5 or 6 things to talk about, and then I've got 7 news items, which is a lot. Usually it's 3 to 5. And then Dan's going to come on probably in about a half an hour. Turtle, you're welcome to come too if you'd like. And we're going to say, why Colombia? Why not Thailand or the Philippines or Portugal or Ecuador or whatever? And your input's welcome. And if you have any strong feelings about it, you're welcome to join us. All right. So, first of all, most of you don't know, but as of March 1st, Rumble, my new platform, and I could see 2 to 1 at least people have moved to Rumble. It's been kind of blowing up a little bit, which is a good thing. Rumble, as of March 1st, sent me a message and said that you have a provisional qualification to become monetized, and we're going to ask you this, which I've already fulfilled. And then the last one was that you do 30 hours live streaming by the end of March. I said, holy crap, because I only do usually 5, 6 maybe. So I said, well, I need to get monetized. It's pretty important to me. There's little coins you can pick up. So technically you're monetized, but to actually make money on it. So give it a shot. Not going to do it coffee time. Coffee time's going to stay the same for an hour more or less every Sunday. So on my personal channel, Sane in Colombia, I have decided, because the way Rumble does it, you have one account, and I've got my Coffee Time Exotics and Sane in Colombia and Coffee Time Live. They're all in that account. Well, to be monetized, any of those will work. So I'm doing it in Sane in Colombia in that channel. And let's see. Here we go. That'll be the thumbnail for this month. It's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. And it's going to be minimum 2 hours, maximum, I don't know. My throat kind of gave out around 2.5 hours on last Tuesday. Last Thursday, I went about 2 hours. My throat only can do so much. But it was kind of fun, actually. And while there weren't that many people there because hardly anybody knew about it, the people that were there were participating and helping me along, sending me ideas and things like that. So it was pretty cool. There are a lot of features with Rumble that don't exist in YouTube. But one of the things they would like me to promote, and at first I didn't do it because you haven't heard about this, but I probably will start to do it because I actually like the idea. I didn't realize I had to do some homework on this, but they have this Rumble Premium. And it's like, here we go. It's like YouTube. I already pay YouTube so I don't have advertisements. So Rumble, they're doing the same. Well, it used to be they did do something like that, and it was $20-some a month, kind of like YouTube. And I said, I don't want to throw that out for people. If they want to do it, they'll figure it out. Well, here's the thing. Rumble is kind of blowing up, But this premium thing, it's something different than what YouTube does. Yes, it eliminates any advertising for you. It's not as much as YouTube. They've dropped the price. It's $9.99 a month or $99 for the year. So they've made it kind of a bargain. But here's the cool part. I have talked to you a number of times about thinking about using a different platform or a different method where I can talk about things where the general public won't be able to watch it because of things like protecting my visa, things like that. Well, this premium, what happens is when I switch to premium, like I could right now, I could switch to premium, and anybody who's not part of that drops off. The video ends for them at that point. And then everybody who is part of premium carries on my channel so that we could cover things that aren't public consumption. Well, I've been trying to figure out a way to do that anyway, and this integrates it with what I'm doing. So I will probably Tuesday and Thursday start talking about that more. Not so much today, just kind of giving you a heads up what's going on. Number 2, the coffee orders. I got coffee orders, and I had to wait until Monday for shipping. They're all going out tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. It's my first time. Hopefully I don't have any glitches. I printed up all the labels. I've got everything ready to go. And it should go smooth. I expect you'll probably see them within about a week or so. It'll depend on customs on your end, but I pretty much covered the bases there, so we should be good to go. Number 3. Where is number 3? We've had a lot of rain recently. I think it's letting up at this point, but some of the roads got hammered pretty good. The difference this year is in the past, it would take weeks for them to kind of fix things up for the mudslides. They had these things done within days or even a day. But check this one out.
Está bien, gracias a Dios.
How would you like to be driving along and all of a sudden get a face full of mud? It broke that window out. Yeah, not cool. I got a little video thing. I've talked about Ecuador in the past and a lot of things that I like about it. A few things that were a problem. One of the things that was a problem for me, I'm going to get to the chats here in just a minute. One of the things that were a problem for me was food poisoning. A month didn't go by when I didn't get sick from somebody's food preparation. It got to the point where I wouldn't even eat in a place unless I was really familiar with it, unless I inspected the kitchen. I'm not kidding. It got to be that bad. And more than half the times when I would check out the kitchen, I would move on to someplace else. It's an issue. So they were promoting that it's carnival time and something that they do every year in Cuenca, making mote. It's this local dish. But when I saw it, I'm laughing because the hygiene around this is kind of non-existent. And it made me think of all those food poisoning issues I got. Food contamination, whatever you want to call it.
Riquísimo. Y así probamos el motepata más grande del mundo con 3 toneladas de motepata. ¡Viva Cuenca! ¡Que vivan todas las manos! Muy bien.
Nosotros estamos contentos como turistas de venir a esta hermosa ciudad.
¡Felicitaciones! ¡Muy bien!
Food is not something to mess with. Last thing I've got here before I move on to the chat, and then we'll hit the news. Turtle, I see you there. I'll wait until I get through this stuff. I'll bring you in. Appreciate you being there. Where was I? Oh, Rob from Fort Lauderdale is in the chat all the time, except today. This was a couple days ago, but check it out.
I'm still working busily. Don't interrupt me on my last day here, or my second to the last day here. Second to the last day, I guess it is. Making training materials for all of my grasshoppers. So that way, when I retire, people know what the hell they're doing. Take that to the bank.
He is officially retired. On the St. Colombia, my video marathon, I think Tuesday or Thursday, one of them, he had sent me a clip where he had left work for good, and he was shouting and just woohoo, you know, pretty interesting. I had deleted that clip, so that was gone. Let me move over to chat. Ooh, we got a bunch here. Juka, greetings from Finland. How you doing? I'm going to do some homework on Finland for this coming week. St. Colombia will be one of my things to talk about. Sebastian, good morning from Lake Michigan. How are you doing? Would somebody comment, is the sound louder than normal, quieter than normal? How is the level? Is it okay? Turtle here. Chad, muy buenos dias, Medellin, desde. Even my fingers speak bad Spanish. Okay. Mr. B. Nick, how are you doing? Buen dia. How are you? Turtle, aloha. Crosa, don't know who that is. Greetings from Tampa Bay. 11 more days before returning to farm in Cordoba. Oh, it's our Cordoba farmer. Owen, thank you very much for this past week. Daylight savings time. Yeah, so it's got to be, 12 o'clock there. Weather doesn't change here. Time doesn't change. 30 hours. Yeah, that's quite a bit. That means I've got to do 5-6 hours a week, more or less. Yeah, it's not an ongoing thing. It's this March. So I'm going to do it one way or the other. I'm going to start doing these pop-up ads too. I did one as an experiment Thursday. I had just enough. You have to have so many people on the channel in order to be able to do them. And I had just enough because we hardly had any. Nobody knew about it. And it wasn't a lot, but I got 60 cents and it was only a dozen people or something. So I'm going to start doing these ad reads also. Hopefully I don't lose anybody, but I've got to get this thing monetized. I mean, you guys help me. You guys support me. Certain number of you are there for a long time. But frankly, it's fallen off and it's not enough. I've got to have, to keep the channel going, I've got to clear about $400 a month. It's been a little painful because I've had to put money out for coffee. I wasn't getting enough for the channel. And so I had to subsidize bringing what I have personally every month to pay my bills and things like that lower than it should be. So it's been kind of a pain, but it's not that far. So if I get this monetized, I get it up there. I can quit worrying about that, and I can keep doing it and not have to do my PBS begging all the time and things like that. Chad, 1 hour Q&As. Owen, Cherie Cafe, that's for the school. Ben Lake, good morning. How you doing? I'll be seeing you in about an hour. Scott Cook, good morning. Bye-bye Cubicle City. Such a great day for Rob. Absolutely. Good here. Sounds awesome. That's good. Coffee now. Yeah, I had mine earlier. Nice to hear you're interested in my country. I'm pretty fascinated, really. It all started with that movie that I saw that kind of piqued my interest about the sniper. And then I actually read a historical article about the guy because I thought, well, the movie really was hyperbolic. It was, I mean, it was like an episode of Iron Man and Superman kind of. It was a little ridiculous, but it was a good movie. It was interesting. But it piqued my interest. And so I read a historical article, and it's like, maybe it wasn't that far off. That guy was pretty awesome. And then I started looking at some other things. I saw a YouTuber that kind of went through the country, and he had some pretty good explanations about things. He went to the Russian border, and he talked quite a bit about the relationship between Finland and Russia, which was pretty fascinating. It's like mortal enemies. So that was so I want to dig some more, and I need things to talk about during those marathons, and so I figured, well, that should be one of them. All right, so that's all the chat. We're going to get to the news here, and Turtle is still waiting in the wings. Sorry, Turtle. All right, for the news. Let's get to. Should I do one of those read campaigns? All right, let me try one of these here. We'll get your feedback, and then we'll get on with the news. You write to me and tell me what you think about this. So here's first one that pops up. It is accept and start. Okay. If you have a dog, we've all been there. Our pup goes from full of energy to sick and miserable in an instant, and at the worst of times. Then we're calling vets in the middle of the night or on weekends trying to find a clinic that will take us in. It's a terrible way to manage your dog's health, not to mention your stress levels and your monthly budget. That's why people are getting the Pet Emergency Kit by Positive. It contains critical medications and supplies that can not only keep you out of the veterinary office, but may even save your dog's life. Their kits contain critical medications like activated charcoal, styptic powder, and more. It might save your dog's life. Head over to positive.com, use code STUDIO, and get 15% off your Pet Emergency Kit. Well, that wasn't too bad. They should write in there, included ivermectin. Okay. My kind of humor. All right, first one. What do we have here? First in the news. Coffee harvest. Where is harvest? Here we go. Colombian production, or coffee production in Colombia reaches its highest level since 1996. Over last year, there's a 42% increase in coffee production. Overseas sales, which is lagging, I know because I'm involved, it's only just being harvested, so some sales haven't happened yet, but it's 17% increase, and year after year, 40% of the coffee that comes out of Colombia goes to the USA. So I guess I picked the right market. And next article. Global coffee trade grinding to a halt, hit hard by brutal price hikes. Now, this one I'm scratching my head to. It's like they're saying that coffee prices are up about 70%. And I have no idea why. It's not on this end. It's not these farms in Colombia. And from what I understand, it's not the end users in the U.S., the coffee shops and chains and things like that. It appears that it's the market that does the trading, the commodities trading. I have no idea why they've got it so bumped up and so inflated. It seems crazy to me. I'll find out within 2 weeks. I don't expect my coffee prices to go up at all. And if it does, maybe just a very little bit. I'll get my prices soon. I have to go over as soon as they start harvesting, do a video at the farm, and I'll find out then. Okay, number 3, elections. Colombia's already started for next year, preparations this year. There's going to be a series of elections that take place so that next year we can change out the president or have an election. Next one here. This was an article that was kind of fun to read. Caught in the act after stealing jewelry from a restaurant on the Armenia Pareda Road. That's out of town. It was 2 of them. They were on a motorcycle. And what they did was on Facebook Marketplace, they put up a truck for sale, and they wanted to meet the people to take a look at the truck. And so they were going to meet them at that restaurant. So they get there, and I don't know they didn't say what restaurant it was, but there weren't very many people there, apparently. There was only like 5 or 6 people there. They came in and they robbed them of any jewelry they're wearing. Now, they didn't take their wallets or anything, just jewelry. They took a necklace, a bracelet, and 3 gold rings. And then they jumped on the motorcycle and took off. Well, the people that were robbed got in their car, chased after them to keep up with them. In the meantime, the restaurant people, they called the national police. National police weren't that far away, caught up to the whole thing. The car with the people that got robbed managed to get so close to them that the motorcycle panicked, went off the road a little bit. One of the guy in the back, he jumped off the motorcycle and ran into the woods. The other guy on the motorcycle, he took off again. So the people stayed there trying to catch him. That's when the national police showed up. National police went out, chased him down, caught him. And that's that guy. He's 36 years old. And they caught him with the gold necklace. Now, just this last week in the marathon, I was talking about how people tend not to wear any kind of expensive jewelry. It's usually costume jewelry. Well, apparently, for some reason, these people don't get the message. Maybe they do now. And so they caught him. And I guess they're soon going to, they know who the other guy is now that they caught this guy. And, so they'll catch the other guy too. But it just kind of picturing the whole thing, it was pretty cool. All right. Next one. Oh, they're both from Medellin. They decided apparently things were hot there. This guy's got a record over the last few years. So I guess they decided to come up here, catch tourists or something. I don't know. And didn't work out well for them. There were a lot of articles this week and a lot with police and crime. And it was all police caught this, police caught that. Police did down in El Centro here in Armenia. there was this major police. They had like 100 cops going around. They did some stop and frisk kind of things where they caught 9 people that were criminals that shouldn't be out walking in the population. They caught a couple people with some jackknives on them or something that they weren't supposed to have, and there was like 200 warnings for various things. It's I like that they're active. um, Speaking of active, these road checks that I'm always going through. This was that truck there on the right, 3.5 tons of weed seized from abandoned truck. This truck wasn't exactly abandoned. They were going through the road check, and the guy panicked and he got out and ran away. They haven't caught the guy yet, but they will. I mean, because he was driving the truck. But when he well, whoever his employers are won't be very happy with him because he just took off. But the way they do these road checks, they would have found it. They went through when I had the black elephant, they went through that. So it's they're on it. Let's see. Here's some potentially bad news. Health reform moves forward, approved in second debate in the House of Representatives. They've been trying to, a bunch of scumbuckets are trying to nationalize our healthcare system, which has been an awesome system and doesn't run in the red, but they're trying to Obamacare it, and which cracked me up. I was watching this YouTube thing where the Democrats were complaining that the healthcare in the United States is going to fall apart, and it's already been falling apart for the last handful of years, and they need to shore it up and put more money in it. It's like, wait a minute, this is your system. This is your Obamacare. Anyway, so anyway, moving to the second debate doesn't mean it's up for a vote yet, but it does move it along to the point where it can get to a vote at some point. And I don't like that. That's not good, but we'll see. Hopefully it dies. And the last news item, people that live here will appreciate this, especially those that live in the South. Colombia lowers the volume on noise pollution. Anti-noise law passed. This is a national law. There are now noise restrictions. There are times and there's actually regulation now on what the noise can be. So if you're in a neighborhood, you can't be playing loud music and blowing off fireworks at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure there's exclusions for holidays. I mean, it's still Colombia, but it's a pretty cool thing. All right. Let me go back to chat, and then we're going to get on with the main topic. I don't see Dan here yet. Dan, if you're out there, this is your topic. Get in here. Chat. Here we go. All right. Juka, maybe you want to find out the underground city we built under Helsinki to endure the Soviet-Russian nuclear bombs. YouTube is full of reports. I'll check it out. Obamacare was a giveaway to the insurance companies. Well, it wasn't good for us, that's for sure. I was vice president of a company when we went from the insurance that we had in the company, which was awesome. Every employee had great coverage, and we had to switch to Obamacare. And people were up in arms. They thought we had done it, and they were so pissed off. Why do I got a $2,000 copay? I had $20. What? Yeah, it was ugly. All right, let's get on with our topic. We've got Dan and we got Turtle. You both should be coming in. They're coming. They're coming. There's Dan. Now where's Turtle? Come on, you can do it. His microphone's off, and his video is not working. I know you're there, Turtle. All right, Dan, how you doing?
Doing fine. How are you?
Good. Your sound is awesome, and your light's so much better. So I came up with 8 bullet points there. So I'll let you take the lead on the thing. That means fireworks every Monday. Yeah. I said about the holiday. Yeah, that's about right. How you doing, Mike? All right. What's your idea on the topic?
Well, it arose out of the fact that when I started traveling, it was my intention to visit more countries, places that I had not been. I've been to about 16 different countries, and I lived for a short while in Nicaragua before I came to the U.S. or to Colombia. Hi, Turtle. And it was my intention to visit more countries, go to Southeast Asia, explore a little more. Once I had a long-term relationship in Colombia, I still kind of had the travel lust, so I was wondering, should I arrange somehow that we can do travel? It's difficult because we have a girl in school, so. But I used YouTube and the internet to research expat experiences in lots of different countries. And frankly, I just can't come up with a reason to leave Colombia. I love Colombia, and I can't find another place that would say to me it's a better place for me to go.
Well, I came up with I guess we probably all feel that way, although Turtle has had one foot in and out, but then he's had one foot in and out of most of the countries in the world at one point or another. But he's moving to Pereira due to medical. But on the thumbnail, I put Philippines and Thailand because a lot of people talk about that and they're big on YouTube. But, people talk about Portugal and talk about Ecuador. Of course, Turtle and I can speak firsthand about Ecuador. I've been to Thailand. I've been to the Philippines. The things that most people talk about, I've been at one point or the other. Colombia is a no-brainer for me also. And I think you came up with this topic because we got a comment about why does Dan hate Colombia so much? It's like, what? Where'd you get that from? The thing is, Dan's like me when it comes to this. We're not here trying to promote Colombia. And if we got something to say that's maybe not the best in the world, we're going to say it. Turtle knows that. We'll piss and moan about one thing or the other, and I do it on here occasionally. It's just that the nice thing about living in Colombia is I don't have that many to complain about. Because I've got perspective, because I've been to other places. For example, one of the things I have here is visa. Now, you would think that it really sucks in visa if you look at all for visas in Colombia, because Facebook, everybody's complaining, I got to do this, I got to do that, But if you've done it in other countries, or if you're aware of what other countries require, all of a sudden Colombia's not so bad. It was so simple. You didn't have to do much of anything except sign your name before, practically. And now they've got all these requirements, but they're basic requirements for most countries. And most countries have things on top of that. And so, it's a matter of perspective.
Well, I want to point out also I mentioned last week, I said something I kind of regretted afterward, that
Oh, never. No, no, never regret.
that the nomad visa, the digital nomad visa, had kind of ruined Medellin. What I meant was for me. We all have different criteria in what we're looking for.
Well,
And
no,
so,
I agree with you. You were actually spot on that there's always been issues with tourists corrupting Medellin, but it became exponentially greater with that digital nomad thing because what you had was a greater amount of young people able to come and spend time here. And hey, we were all the same. When we were young, we wanted to party. We would go out and, look for girls, and we did those things. Now we're just old and we're fossils and we're tired, and we're trying to kick back, and so we don't ruin things that much. But you you, you get me in my 20s and 30s, and I'm tearing the place up. So you were spot on. I mean, I agree with you. You don't have to
and
regret that.
well, at the same time, there may be people for whom Medellin is currently perfect, that they love it there. So it's always just from personal perspectives that we evaluate different places.
Can't hear you.
Hmm.
Yeah, your sound's on here, but it's not coming from you.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
That's a thumbnail, by the way.
The can you hear me now?
Just so you know, Turtle, your sound is on here, but we can't hear you because you don't have it on your end. Nope, no sound.
Well, I'll tell everybody a little story while he's dealing with technical difficulties. There was a popular couple on YouTube who moved from Denver in the United States to Ecuador. I'm sure you'll know who I'm talking about. And for, I don't know, the next 3 or 4 years, they promoted Ecuador, talking about how wonderful everything was. They never had a bad thing to say. And
Quite
about
the
a year, about a year and a half ago, they wanted to leave Ecuador and start traveling. And they've been to, I don't know, a dozen different countries since then. They don't mention Ecuador ever again. They are not promoting for people to move to Ecuador.
Well, there was them. There was another family that moved to Ecuador maybe 11, 12 years ago. And they actively did these things on YouTube about how you can live here for $600 a month, like a king, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they were constantly trying to do things to make money. They tried paywalls, all kinds of things. I don't begrudge them for that. It was a bit hypocritical, and they were constantly pushing Cuenca. Well, then they ended up moving to the coast, different people. They ended up moving to the coast, and that was the best. And then they moved back to Cuenca. Well, that was the best. Then they moved to Italy for a few years. That was the best. Now they've moved back to the United States, and they're talking about what a big mistake it was for those 5 years in Ecuador and those 2 years in Italy. And so now they're back to trying to make money in the United States on the videos by talking about their thing now is you move overseas, you're making a big mistake, and we'll tell you why. Here's 10 reasons why you should, like that.
Yeah. Turtle, you got sound?
I'm not hearing him. Don't know why. Somebody says we can hear him, but you can't hear him because there's no sound. I see you talking. But he's turning. I saw him turning the sound on and off. I don't know why it's not coming through. I looked here because I do have a sound control, and I've got his sound on. But
Well, I want to invite any viewers to mention a country that they might like us to discuss and compare.
sorry, Turtle, don't know why. We'll try it. We'll try it Tuesday. There's a lot less pressure on Tuesdays because it's like I got no format. It's just we just try it. Maybe they woke up. Who woke up? Oh, maybe they woke up. Mexico. Yeah, it's like well, the thing with these people, I got one of their dogs, by the way, one of their moves. I got a German Shepherd, awesome dog, and but after meeting them, I had a whole different perspective because their videos, they portrayed themselves as for a while their videos were all Christian value. You can count on us because it's Christian value. You can buy our this and you can buy our that because we're Christians and like that. And then at some point that kind of fell by the wayside. And then it was, we're healthy. We make our own yogurt. We do this and we do that. It's like organic only. And so they went through a streak of that. And that, it was like, it was always, what can we jump on to, to promote? And it's like, come on, why don't you just be real? Tell the truth, be honest, be real. And I can appreciate, like the couple you're talking about, you go to a place, it's easy to fall in love with any place for a while. And then at some point you wake up and realize it's really not what you thought, like I felt with Cuenca, it's like Turtle says, it just, what seems cute and historic at some point just becomes old. And that's fine. But to go on forever knowing that you're telling people things that you don't believe just to try to get money, that's creepy to me.
Owen mentions he would be interested in discussing a comparison with Mexico.
After divorcing in Colombia, I realized it's no longer a country for me. I see men going to Thailand and East Africa. Passport bros. Well, I understand what you're saying. You have a divorce, it's easy to become bitter. And the divorce laws, they're going to get worse, but divorce laws are not the best in the world. Although you look at the Philippines, you marry somebody, you can't ever be divorced. And you also can never own property in the Philippines. So you get married to somebody, you can never get divorced. And if you buy property, she's the one that actually owns it. You can never own it. Here in Colombia, if you buy property, it's yours. And if you're going to get married for the right reasons and be careful. It's like, I don't know.
It happens a lot in the Philippines. A guy will, he wants to take care of his wife. Maybe they have some kids. He wants to be, secure his family's future. So he buys a piece of land. They build a house. It's all in her name. And, maybe they buy a car, a couple of motos, and then guess who wants a divorce? It's not him.
Was talking about the people that travel for 5 years, now back in the U.S., now praising the U.S., Mike Jarvis. One of the things that the ones that I was talking about, and I couldn't watch the whole thing, and they're using an AI voice, and the whole thing they're doing right now is kind of creepy. But they were showing themselves on a beach. But anyway, they were talking about all the YouTubers out there are slamming the United States. Well, I had never slammed the United States. I always said it's like one of the best places in the world you can be. I'm here for a reason. I never hated on the United States at all. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about, except to just kind of position. It's all positioning. That's really what he's talking about. He's trying to create his own story.
Well, they're marketing. They were marketing Ecuador for a while, then they were marketing Italy, and now they're marketing the USA.
Yeah.
Well, let's address for Owen. Owen, what I can give you is my opinion why Mexico is not attractive to me. It is substantially governed by some cartels, and it makes the country unsafe if you want to travel throughout the country. If you want to have the freedom to do so, there are just so many areas that are not safe, and it's changing all the time. They have also made it, it may or may not apply to you, but they have made the income requirements to get residency in Mexico much higher. I have no idea why. They apparently don't want as much gringo money coming into the country, but they have, I don't know, I can't remember for every country, but they more or less doubled the income requirement to get residency in Mexico. So for those reasons and others, I would not find Mexico nearly as attractive as Colombia. In addition to which, the geography, Colombia is just green and beautiful.
Well, the southern part of Mexico is pretty nice also, but what you have is people that are living there that will rave about it. Of course, we never have any problems. But the thing is, when you have a country that is primarily controlled by the cartels, is they're going to leave you alone to so that they don't bring heat. On the other hand, if anything ever happens, you don't really have recourse when you're dealing with an illegitimate power base, and that's the danger of it. Yeah, I don't know what's up, Turtle. I really don't know. We'll sort it out Tuesday. Sorry. All right. One of the things about Colombia, when I think of Philippines and Thailand, Philippines and Thailand are really hot. Now, Philippines has several areas that you can live that are cooler, although they're mostly kind of crowded. And the ones that aren't are really away from civilization quite a bit. Thailand, there's a lot of differences in Thailand. The visa's gotten very difficult. It's gotten much more expensive. It's hot, most of it. There is some mountain areas you can go to where it's a little better and you can adjust. But here in Colombia, because we've got such a huge range, you can choose the climate you want to live, and you can still have access to all the things that you can still have a mall or nice restaurants, or, you have everything that you might want to have, like in the USA at your fingertips, or Canada. You can have those in Colombia. But you can choose 70-degree days, or you can choose 100 degrees on the beach, or, you can choose an area where the climate is what you want it to be. That's not everywhere.
Another issue with Thailand is if you learn a little bit of basic Thai, how long does that take you? And then where else in the world can you go and put that to use? Whereas if you learn a little bit of basic Spanish, it'll take you all over Latin America and to Europe. So Thailand just seems to be a little more isolated from a standpoint of language. That's one of the things that I think is a major attraction to the Philippines, because, I mean, personally, I'm not extremely attracted to places that are hot and damp and sweaty all the time, and mosquitoes love me. So there are other considerations for me in the Philippines, but I think what draws a lot of North American and European expats to the Philippines is that English is widely spoken.
Yeah, that's true. A negative with the Philippines and Thailand, depending on who you are, is the distance from the U.S. You're on the other side of the world, so if you got family and things like that, you basically have a day or two of flights. And another one that you may or may not be a consideration is you're a little close to China, and who knows what's going to happen there. I wouldn't want to be living there if things do blow up. Where here, things can blow up in Europe and things can blow up in Asia. We're kind of in our own little corner, so that's pretty cool. Owen says, thanks, Dan. I did hear about the income requirement increase. Also agree, Colombia is more beautiful. Scott says, some confuse hating on with truth. There are cities in North America that are more dangerous than other cities. Well, yeah, that's absolutely true.
And you can find safe places to live in any country.
Yeah, that's the thing. All the time, people say, well, I heard that there was a murder in Armenia. Well, yeah, but where are you from? I heard there were 5 murders last week where you're from, Well, that's different. Well, those are our murderers. I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Climate near China. I'm going through quick. Cost of living is actually, even though it's gone up, cost of living is quite favorable here. It's Philippines is also pretty good. Thailand, it's cheaper here than Thailand. Passport Bros, a lot of white guys love and do very well in Kenya. Climate options and affordable. Women there love you guys. Yeah, I hear you. You're probably one of those younger people that I was talking about. I shouldn't say we. It's definitely a consideration for men, single men. It's definitely a consideration. We think about it, but for a lot of us, it's not the primary driver. There's other things. It's kind of like a package. You can assume in a place. Colombia is notorious for having beautiful women and having women that are available. I don't mean necessarily in a nasty way, but they're just more open-minded than a lot of places. And so we all know that. That's kind of a given. Philippines, they'll do anything to hook up with somebody with a buck, and kind of like Medellin. Thailand, it's a mixture. It's a mixture of the two. But it depends. In Colombia, it depends. Like here in Armenia, we tend to be a lot more conservative. And so the kind of thing that the passport bros are looking for, maybe a little bit more, we're less active on the dating scene. And if we're going to be with somebody, we're more interested in finding somebody, like for real. I don't know how to say it. Language is the biggest barrier for me for relocating to Colombia. Didn't let it bother me. I didn't speak anything until a handful of years ago.
Yeah. Oh, and when I lived in Nicaragua, everybody I knew spoke English, so I didn't learn any Spanish. When I came to Colombia, I specifically moved into an area that didn't have any tourists so that I would be forced to use some Spanish. And within 90 days, I could carry on a conversation with a taxi driver. And that gives you a lot of confidence. And those conversations are easy, by the way, because they're always the same. Where are you from? Do you have a family? And it's not a very complicated conversation, but once you discover that you can hold a conversation with locals without any difficulty, it gives you a lot of confidence to continue learning more Spanish, and it comes it comes easily.
Let's see. Andromeda, good day, Lauren. Damn, I just came in. Looking forward to watching your rerun. Cheers. Thank you. So we've only got a few minutes left. Do you have something negative, something that kind of work in the other direction?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, we mentioned some reasons why Colombia is a good choice, at least for us, over the Philippines or Thailand. Is there a reason that Thailand or the Philippines might be a better choice, or Portugal or something like that?
Well, I used to speak English and German. I haven't used my German in so long. I really feel inadequate with it. But now I've added Spanish to the pile. I'm not even interested in visiting Brazil at this point. I'm not going to learn Portuguese. So,
It does tend to limit most people to the more touristy areas where they speak the language. I never let it phase me. I mean, I was living here. I went to Ecuador where they didn't speak any English. I mean, it never phased me, but I also recognize that most people have a lot of anxiety over the language, really worry about it, stress themselves out. I probably because I started traveling, at a very young age and just kept it going through years of my life. I just stopped worrying about it or thinking about if I ever did. I don't know if I ever did worry about it.
Yeah, I've been to Taiwan and I don't speak any version of Chinese, but I mean, you can get by almost anywhere on the planet just being nice to people. And in those days, we didn't have translation applications for the phone. Nowadays, it's never been easier than to use a translation app on your phone.
Man, that's a good point.
You're never lost.
Yeah, it's like back when I was doing all that traveling, all these different places, I might have invested in a book, like a American whatever dictionary, but we didn't have cell phone. We didn't have any kind of pocket phone. Now it's like Google does it for you.
Yeah.
I pointed out last week that I didn't even realize, but on the phone, if you're in any app, including apps that are blocked where you can't do a screenshot or whatever, you push that center button, like on Android, you push that center button and hold it. This thing pops up, and all the way to the right, you hit it and it translates whatever is on that page. It's awesome. So
yeah, you can translate signs or posters.
When I was in Ecuador, I was struck with the milk being out on a shelf, not refrigerated, and there was an entire aisle of it. And I go, "What? What is this?" And it's milk. Okay, so I used Google to read the labels on the shelf to find the skim milk. I didn't even know it was milk at first. I mean, how could milk be out on the shelf warm?
Comes in a plastic bag.
I have to admit, what little Spanish words I've learned, I seem to pick up easy. It's the conversational Spanish that intimidates me. Another reason for me to get a cell phone. Yeah, you definitely have to have a cell phone. That's for sure. But I don't know.
Well, you could also come to Armenia. There are a number of English speakers here, and we'd be happy to help you get some basic Spanish down. It doesn't need to be intimidating at all.
Don't invite people to Armenia.
No, then we'll send them off elsewhere.
Okay. We've run the course. We've answered all the chats. And a reminder again, Singing in Colombia on Rumble podcast marathon Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. If you're so inclined, be there. I'll be experimenting with some of the features of the channel. Be on there for a few hours. It's less scripted than this. Well, this isn't scripted, but I have bullet points. And mostly I wrote down like 1 or 2 word topic so that I have something to talk about. Because, sit there for a couple hours. Tuesday, in the first one, I didn't have anything written down. I just sat down, turned everything on, and said, well, here I am. Going to do a marathon. Went for 2.5 hours. Owen saved my butt on that because he kept posting up questions for me. And, me, I get a question, I'll go on for 10 minutes. So, he kind of saved me. But we're going to be doing that. So if you got time, be there. Post a link here. Well, I don't have a link yet because it's going to be live, and I can't set a live stream up until you can only set one up at a time, and I'm on this one. But it's easy enough to find. If you subscribe to Rumble, you'll get notification. How long are the shows? At least 2 hours. They're at least 2 hours. Because I have to get 30 hours in by the end of the month to reach my target. Keep Armenia a secret. Love the place and miss it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a link I can post up, but if you go to Rumble, to my channel, you'll find it there. What's my channel link for Rumble? I can't access it because I'm in it. If somebody can come up with my channel link, well, I can open a page here. All right, let me. Here we go. I'm coming. Let's see.
Owen posted the Grand Colombia link, but this would be sane in Colombia.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Yep. So there's the Grand Colombia is this channel that we're on. You would still get notification if you subscribe to one. You'll get notification for all. They do things very differently. There's also a ton of things in Rumble now that it's growing exponentially. There, almost everything that I would watch on YouTube is now on Rumble. So that's very cool. All right, we're going to end it here. Last word, Dan?
I don't have anything to add if we don't have any questions.
All right. We'll see you guys next Sunday. For the rest of you, see you Tuesday and Thursday. Ciao.
Hello.